sexuality online. According to Marwick 2013, while the terms sex, gender, and sexuality are often thought of as synonymous, they are actually quite distinct. The difference between the common understandings of how these terms and how researchers think about them yield key insights about the social functioning of gender. Sex is a biological state that corresponds to what we call a man or a woman. This might seem to be a simple distinction, but the biology of sex is actually very complicated. While sex is often explained as biological, fixed, and immutable, it is actually constructed. Gender then is the social understanding of how sex should be experienced and how sex manifests in behavior, personality, preferences, capabilities, and so forth. A person with male sex organs is expected to embody a masculine gender. While sex and gender are presumed to be biological connected, we can understand gender as a socioculturally specific set of norms that are mapped onto a category of sex. Gender is ahistorical. It is produced by media and popular culture. It is taught by families, schools, peer groups, and nation-states. It is reinforced through songs, sayings, admonition, slang, language, fashion, and discourse.
The world is a tip of your fingers. A decade ago, this statement is an exaggeration, but now it is become the norm. It is now very easy for people to access data and information through the internet from anywhere around the world in a couple of seconds. With just a click or swipe of a finger, you can get to places, meet new people, and exchange information online through websites and popular social networking sites like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. To engage in these online platforms, you only need to sign up, create a profile, and voila! The possibilities for communication, information, and entertainment become endless. Even from behind a screen, you can acquire an audience or followers and become part of a larger community built in cyberspace. The admission to the online community is free, and the online ticket you need is striking display photo and a credible user profile. The big question now is, who are you in cyberspace?
So next is the online identity. The totality of person's appearance, expression, behavior, and interaction within the digital platform, particularly the internet, refers to an online identity. In the previous lessons, you have learned how the concept of self is formed and how factors like certain norms, beliefs, and social institutions affect this notion of the self of identity. However, we now live in a vast, changing, and highly digital world, and the self has adapted and has immersed itself in this new environment. Thus, the emergence of an online identity, this online identity is often created to engage in virtual communities found in various websites and social networking sites. Oftentimes, online identities are mere versions of the self that as a person projects in online interactions. As a result, these projections of the self are sometimes different from a person's actual self or personal in actual social interactions. But why do people present their identities different online? And that's all.
shared sense of cyberspace. Since most media, files, and information in virtual communities are shared rather than individually owned, even the concept of space becomes shared. As such, the aggregate self becomes even more available to a greater public who are also within the same virtual community. This shared sense of space in the digital world allows members to create and recreate the virtual spaces according to their needs. This process of creation in the virtual environment is called reworlding, and this somehow further reinforces the presentation of an online self because it goes beyond the constraint of time and space. Kazanet and Kidzior 2009 cited in Belk 2013. This reimagined space become an actual place where individuals can hang out, communicate with each other, and share feelings of belongings, even just being glued on their own screens. One might come to ask, what does all these things tells you? As technologies evolve, so do people's perception of themselves. This further affects the way one presents himself or herself online because the digital world provides endless possibility and various platforms for self-expression. While it becomes easier to present and express oneself, the notion of the actual self is extended even further to several other versions of a persona in the digital world. Through time, the actual self might become far different than the identity people project online. But this does not mean that the core self is gone. It is only extended and adapted to fit in the fast changing realities in the virtual world. In simpler terms, people's identities online are very much influenced and shaped by the digital world, and these online identities
Sexuality are complex topics, especially when discussed online. The internet provides a platform of people to explore, express, and engage with their gender identity and sexual orientation in various ways. It can, as, it can be a supportive space for communities to connect, share, experience, and advocate for rights. However, it also important to recognize the online spaces can sometimes be hostile or discriminatory towards individuals based on their gender or sexuality. Creating inclusive online environments and promoting aspects for diverse identities are crucial. It is important to acknowledge that not everyone has equal access to online spaces. Socioeconomic factors, geographical location, and digital literacy can create barriers of some individuals to fully participate in online discussions about gender and sexuality. Overall, gender and sexuality online are complex and multifaceted topics that require sensitivity, understanding, and efforts to create inclusive and supportive online environments.
Managing the digital self. Responsible online self presentation. Below are questions that you may ask yourself before presenting yourself online. While online self presentation may form a part of your freedom to express yourself, it did not always appear and the way you intend it to be. To put it simply, the freedom to express oneself online necessities or responsibilities not to cause any harm or damage to others. Before posting or sharing anything online, you may think about the following. First one is this post or the stories necessary? The second one is there a real benefit to this post or am I just making noise without purpose? And the third one, have we resolved this issue? An issue still being worked out in the home or one that is either vulnerable or highly emotional should not make it made in public. And the fourth one, is it appropriate? Does it stay within the boundaries of our family values? And so the last one, will this seem as funny in 5 or 10 or maybe the 15 years? Or is this post better suited for sharing with a small group of family members? Or maybe not at all.